So I've got one question left for you, John, before we go, and it kind of leverages your past experience. If you're a senior economic policy advisor in the House or Senate or the White House, what advice are you giving right now with regard to COVID legislation? And are you considering fiscal responsibility in upcoming legislation in terms of finding ways to reduce deficits, or is that just not even in the equation right now?
I mean, from a pure economics, you want pure economics advice, not like economic policy advice. I would say spend as much as you need to now. You know, you got millions of Americans who can't go to work and can't earn income. The government is borrowing at 0.5% over 10 years. You've got a responsibility to shift that borrowing power from the government to households. And the way you do that is by borrowing a ton, spending on people, making sure they can stay in their homes, avoiding an eviction crisis and food lines and all that kind of stuff. So I think the government should be spending a lot more money than it did. I think the government's acted very responsibly so far this year. I would encourage the government to keep spending more money throughout the end of this year, at least until life starts to return to normal. And then, at the end of 2021 or 2022, whenever the time frame is, worry about it then. As the market's sending the signal right now that the U.S. government can borrow as much as it wants with no consequences, and to not take advantage of that to help people and help the economy right now, I think is an abdication of responsibilities. That's my economic policy advice. Until those market signals start showing up, I will continue to give that advice, because I just don't think there's obvious short-term economic risks of these deficits at the moment.
Given the extreme consequences for our economy right now and on individuals and business failures and state budgets, it really has dumbfounded me, even in this increased age of dysfunction, that they haven't been able to reach some sort of an agreement. And I'm just wondering, I mean, is that because of the summer of Obamacare, when a lot of Democrats lost their jobs and Republicans are looking at it and they don't want some sort of a revolt on the spending side? Or
yeah, that's a great question. I would have thought this thing was going to be done in July. It turns out, I think that there's a number of Republicans who say we've done enough. Government can't keep the economy afloat forever. It's irresponsible to do so. So their votes are not gettable. There's another group of Republicans who say, I'm up for re-election this cycle. I'm vulnerable. I will spend whatever it takes. The Democrats have already indicated their position, which is a $3.4 trillion bill that spends money everywhere on everything, and is way more expansive than I would have thought. The person who's really surprised me in all of this is Donald Trump, because the president has just shown very little urgency to do anything about this. And there's been some reporting that indicates he regrets even having signed the CARES Act. I'm not sure I believe all of that reporting. The CARES Act was one of the most effective pieces of emergency economic legislation ever passed in the U.S. But I think that his lack of urgency is just allowing Republicans to move in all different directions, and the Democrats have no incentive to compromise, because anything they do to help the economy probably helps President Trump's reelection, which is not great for them. But then two, if Biden wins, they're going to have the opportunity to come back in January of next year and do everything they want plus more. So I think that the incentives to compromise are really, really low right now. I would have thought the president had more urgency, but he doesn't. And so here we are. And I think that I'd be frankly surprised to see something meaningful happen on phase 4 before the end of the year.